Jeremy Bash, in normal circumstances, before a tweet like this goes out, isn't it thought out in terms of all the potential consequences, ramifications, impacts it may have? I mean, do you think that happened this time?
No, I don't. A presidential statement is a statement of American foreign policy, and as we've talked about on this broadcast many times, you would normally have an interagency meeting. You'd have the various departments and agencies weigh in. You'd have it vetted by the intelligence community. One of the phrases from the tweet really stuck out at me, which is that he wants China to, quote, end this nonsense once and for all. I think that could be read in Pyongyang as we're coming after you in terms of regime change. I think Kim Jong-un probably has calculated that Donald Trump wants him removed from power, and so he's going to accelerate his missile capability. They've learned so much, not just from their launches, but also from their failures, and they're going to continue to accelerate it. They're going to continue to miniaturize that nuclear weapon. They've now showed that they can put a missile on America's doorstep, so this is a very dangerous cycle.
And Andrea, you had talked before about how Donald Trump thought he could personally charm the Chinese leaders, and we've seen this happen before throughout history. Famously, FDR thought he could charm Stalin at Yalta. George W. Bush thought that he could charm Putin, talking about, seeing into his soul. But Donald Trump, this has happened time and again, and he appears to be more susceptible to this mistake than most other presidents.
Well, it's partly because they don't have a process in place. They don't have deputies and principals committee meetings to work through this, as Jeremy just said. Partly that he doesn't read, doesn't absorb facts, is not reality-based. So his vaunted deal-making in real estate, which is transactional in a different way, does not translate into what he needs to do as a foreign leader. And, look at the Riyadh summit and the unintended consequences of empowering the Saudis to the extent that he did through the Riyadh summit, going there first, questionable decision, and then we see rapidly the succession, which may have been accelerated by what he did in various signals, putting his finger on the scale, if you will, between the two rivals, the Crown Prince and the Deputy Crown Prince. Now the former Crown Prince is reportedly under house arrest, with his personal security guards changed overnight to be loyal to the new Crown Prince, his much younger nephew. King Salman is not going to the G20. Neither is MBS, the new Crown Prince. So they are sending a deputy finance minister. Clearly, the new Crown Prince wants to stay at home and not risk leaving the country, not yet secure in his own hold on power. This is at plus what we see with the threats against Qatar and the continuing disaster in Yemen that this young man has helped foster. There are a lot of unintended consequences that this president has not even considered, and it cannot be resolved by tweet. But I still keep focusing on Angela Merkel. The key to so much in terms of our own economy, our huge market in Europe, and she is very careful with her words. She's a scientist. She does not make grand pronouncements, but she has now twice in the last few weeks dismissed Donald Trump in very clear language. They no longer rely on the U.S.
Yeah,
it is so true.
And Jeremy Bash, a lot of eyes are going to be on the meeting between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. What does the United States need to get out of that?
Yeah, what you would think is that the president would walk in that room and say effectively, I know what you did last. I don't think he's going to do that. I don't think he's going to point the finger at Putin and call him out on election meddling. And without him doing that, I think that really erodes America's credibility and our ability to get other things we need out of that Russia relationship, including things in Ukraine and Europe and, of course, in Syria.
And what do you want out of that
Rick?
meeting?
Yeah, I think if he doesn't mention the election meddling, Putin will regard it as a victory and that he will be able to dangle that over him for the rest of his time in office.
And see how weak. There's no doubt to see it as a sign of huge weakness.
Andrea Mitchell, Jeremy Bash, thank you both. Rick Sengel, stay with us.